Hi, this is a 10-minute video to explain what you need to know about marketing. When you are working with your clients, if you happen to observe something, you will be able to diagnose whether it's a marketing problem. Here are the topics. My objectives are to build referrals from you and your clients, and for your own professional development. First, let's talk about who are marketers. Marketers are either generalists or specialists. There are more specialists, so you are more likely to meet a specialist. What connects these specialists is a generalist. Generalists are called brand managers or marketing managers. We have been trained to do a little bit of every aspect of marketing, and like a family doctor, we call in the specialists when needed. Unlike specialists who can be either consultants or employees, generalists are mostly employees in the marketing departments of large corporations and large nonprofits. Why do you need a generalist? There is always a risk in self-diagnosing a marketing problem. A generalist will either help you diagnose where your gaps are and either fill the gaps themselves or call in a specialist. Marketing is a combination of both art and science. As it turns out, it is possible to subcontract the art of marketing, which is why there's lots of consultants. On the other hand, it is hard to subcontract the science of marketing. The science of marketing requires number crunching, so it has to be done in-house by employees. As it turns out, most of MAS clients are small nonprofits with straightforward needs which can be addressed by a generalist. Here is why. Let's move on to a second topic of what is marketing. The concept of providing a product or service to customers has been around for millennia. About 50 years ago, marketing was developed as an academic discipline by a professor in the US called Philip Kotler. Marketers start out in business school. We learn the marketing principles of price, product, positioning. We learn how to apply the principles in case studies. So that is the content of marketing. By the way, marketing is more than just advertising like in Mad Men. We also learn the process of marketing, which is the annual marketing plan. As marketers progress in their careers and as we switch between industries such as financial services, packaged goods, the content of marketing principles stays the same and the process of a marketing plan stays the same. 3 years ago, when I started to volunteer, I expected the nonprofit industry to be the same. Initially, I volunteered with large nonprofits. Marketing was smaller. Then I started volunteering with small nonprofits through MAS. Marketing was even smaller. So each of your clients may have a different definition of what marketing is. Why is nonprofit marketing so much smaller? Most nonprofits do not charge recipients for their help. Most nonprofits offer a service, not a product. Most nonprofits are small with one distribution channel. What we are left with is promotion. Although the content of nonprofit marketing is smaller, the content that is relevant for nonprofits is the same as other industries. What is different is the process of marketing. The annual marketing plan cycle can take about 1 month to create and 11 months to implement. But when 75% of the content is gone, the template of a traditional marketing plan is not helpful. Why hasn't a new process been figured out? There isn't much in it for academics to focus on the nonprofit industry. There isn't much in it for generalists, but because we are employees, not consultants. When the occasional generalist volunteers, it is very disorienting to not have the process of a marketing plan. We end up helping with one-off projects, but there is no strategic overview. What do nonprofit marketers do? Here is what I do. For large nonprofits, I do an annual review of the 3 best practices. For small nonprofits, I rebrand them, then suggest an annual audit of their promotional items. Next, let me explain a typical MAS client which is small. Let's zoom in on the blue circle. Typically, I do a rebrand. A rebrand makes sure the face of a nonprofit is clear and consistent in all their promotional items. Having a clear and concise message has a big impact on donor appeal. I write the content and create the live website on WordPress. Then using the website as a foundation, I create a brochure on PowerPoint and any other promotional items they need, such as ads. I give tutorials on WordPress and PowerPoint so that the client can do their own edits in the future. A rebrand takes about 35 hours of my time and 15 hours of the client time over the course of 2 months. As a comparison, for-profit consultants would charge $3,000 to $10,000 per client and would use technology not available to clients, so clients would have to return to pay the consultants for future edits. Let me take a moment to digress. There is so much confusion between marketing and fundraising for small nonprofits. Let me explain. Fundraisers focus on the sales cycle of identify, qualify, solicit, and steward. Marketers create the promotional items that fundraisers use, like donor kits. As well, the target audiences are different. Fundraising is one-to-one selling to corporations, foundations, and major donors. Marketing is mass communication to a large audience of donors and volunteers. Now let's return to the presentation. Let's zoom out to the large nonprofits for their annual review. The process of marketing large nonprofits is an annual review of the 3 best practices: the art of marketing, the science of marketing, and the people of marketing. The art of marketing is all about the brand. It's the same for small nonprofits, but large nonprofits are more complex. As well, more efforts are needed to protect their brand. The science of marketing makes sure marketing and fundraising are done efficiently. I look at the efficiency of all the revenue streams and figure out ways to improve the CRA fundraising ratio. I'll also look at how much churn there is in the donor portfolio to gauge whether there should be more marketing attention to donor acquisition or donor retention. Finally, large nonprofits need to review annually whether they have the right combination of generalists and specialists to get the job done. If not, I look to fill the gaps with permanent volunteers. Once a board of directors approves these 3 best practices annually, the ED is empowered to make the day-to-day marketing decisions. The most valuable resource for nonprofits in marketing is time, staff time, volunteer time. Given limited time, what priorities should a nonprofit choose for marketing? The next slide shows the details. Small nonprofits need to create a solid brand and then do a promotion audit every year to make sure the brand remains solid. For many small nonprofits, that may be all they need. Other nonprofits might consider doing other projects that are relevant to them, like a communications plan for a launch, or social media for nonprofits who have advocacy and education in their mission. Let me use spokesperson training as an example. Spokesperson training for nonprofits with a solid brand could take 4 hours. Spokesperson training for nonprofits without a solid brand could double the time. So having a solid brand saves time in other areas. Mid-sized nonprofits who spend between $10,000 to $100,000 on fundraising could need a rebrand, like a small nonprofit, and then select projects from the larger list of topics that are relevant to them. Marketing is not a linear process. This is a menu-based approach where a client can select whatever sub-project is relevant to them throughout the year. Then at year-end, they do an annual review of either a promotion audit or 3 best practices. So what are these other marketing projects? This slide is a short summary of the projects and the time associated with each project. For the complete list, please see my website. Typically, MAS clients request rebrands. About 25% of the time, clients request communications plans. What are the rewards for volunteer consultants in marketing? The rewards differ. Large nonprofits and communications plans require more face time, so we benefit from that human connection. For small nonprofits, rebranding has 2 rewards: the intellectual challenge of decluttering a mess into a clear and concise message, and the sense of accomplishment of a tangible website and brochure. For small nonprofits, it's actually easier to do a rebrand by telephone and email and not in person, so I can help a small nonprofit anywhere across Canada. What skills are needed to become a volunteer consultant in marketing? VCs need a business degree in marketing to learn the marketing theories in a case study approach. VCs need to be willing to learn WordPress to create websites. They need to be willing to learn PowerPoint to create brochures. VCs also need to know how to write concisely. When you are working with your clients, what should you listen for? The theme for small nonprofits is, help us, we have nothing. If their website is hard to update, that probably means it uses old technology. If they have made promotional literature over time, the look is probably inconsistent. If their strategy is not clear and concise, then probably their messaging is also not clear and concise. For those nonprofits who have advocacy and education in their mission, they may still think of their website as a promotional tool as opposed to making their website so content rich it becomes another way they fulfill their mission. Large nonprofits are already doing a lot of activities. The theme is help us work smarter. When I hear about donor letters from a fundraiser, that's a marketer's job. An accountant will tell you what the CRA fundraising ratio is, but if the question is, what's the first thing we can do to improve it? That's a marketer's job. Marketing overlaps with other disciplines. The overlaps with HR and governance are small. However, the overlaps with strategy, fundraising, and accounting are large. I am delighted to explore these overlaps with you. Send me an email.